Hello and welcome to the regular Tuesday edition of Spurs Diehards TTID, Tottenham Till I Die. Tonight we'll have a brief discussion on Everton Spurs. We'll talk about transfers, we'll talk about Ange, and we have time, we'll do a preview of Hoffenheim. So without further ado, I'm going to introduce Deji Spurs, who's a friend of the show, he's been on before, and he can be found here. So I'll post this at the end of the show as well, so as people know where to find Deji. Go and subscribe. He does excellent content out there. Right. So we'll start. We're waiting for one more guest. Ash, who's running a bit late. I'm sure he'll be with us shortly. So we'll start with this. Deji, when I see that team sheet for the game, I was quite excited because I thought, Gray's going to actually play as a number 6. What's your thought? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, Adrian, when first and foremost, Happy New Year. So good to see you again, and thanks for the invite on the show. Yeah. One of my favourite shows, and one of my New Year's resolution is to get on a Tuesday more often. For me, when I saw the team sheet, I was actually looking at some of the comments in the WhatsApp group, and I was like, finally, we're going to see Archie Gray. I remember listening to this guy called Darren. He's always on Sky Sports, and he was on Last Word from Spurs, that channel, and he was talking about the fact that what Spurs could be doing is, if they bring in a decent centre back, would be able to see Archie Gray in the 6. That's it's hard to judge the kid when he's been playing out of position. So like you, I was so excited, and then obviously we had kickoff. But yeah, initially I thought fair play to him. He's going to try something new, and sooner rather than later, he's done it, and let's see what happens.
Yeah, and he changed, didn't he, to a 3 at the back, and of course we didn't know what was going to happen, and he eventually changed at half time. But the first goal they scored, Dragerson, Calvin Phillips, and we had 3 centre-backs that didn't seem to know what they were doing, getting in each other's way, more or less. And Dragerson should have been proactive. He should have gone to meet the player rather than back away and back off. We've had this issue before. We used to have it with Derek Dyer, didn't we? And players like that,
Yeah, the issue that I have, and I know we're gonna speak about it later on today. On one hand, I agree we got to be changing things up. We got to keep experimenting and trying things until we find a system that works. But we had a system that we've been pretty much doing for about 15 games or so. I don't know the right number. Archie Gay is playing left centre-back, Dragusin right centre-back. You've done that for about 15 games. And then you've now decided to do a back 3, and you've now put Archie Gray at the right side of that back 3. So he's playing right centre-back. What did you think was going to happen? Dragusin already doesn't know his left from his right. He's just about getting to grips with the right-hand side of the fence, and now you've put him in the middle. Do you know what I mean? So you could see, but straight away, they were all at sea. And I used the example, for me, we drive on the right here. When I go into Europe and we're driving on the left, it takes me a good half hour, 45 minutes before my brain recalibrates and allows me to drive on the other side of the road. That it's the same thing for football. If you swap Gabriel and Saliba around, they would be doing 6s and 7s. So why Postecoglou opted to do that in that moment when we've never done it before was very, very strange for me, and I wasn't surprised. I wasn't surprised that they looked lost. They didn't know what was going on, and Dragusin, but not just Dragusin, Archie Gray, he got spun. He got spun like Kylie Minogue with Calvert-Lewin, and Calvert-Lewin can't bloody score a goal to save his life.
Yeah, it was fans have been crying out for a back 5 or a 3-4-3 like the wing back system, but you just can't. I don't know if Ange did this out of desperation or he's looked at the players and the injuries he's got and thought this would be the best way to go. He admitted he got it wrong at the end of the game, so fair play to him. He owned up, But it's like when people are screaming for change before. The way I see it is, you need time on the training ground, and you don't get that in the mid-season. You don't they're giving players a day off now because they're knackered straight after games, and you haven't got time to work. There just isn't the time to impose, right? A new system on the players midway through the season. So I think he got this wrong, and I think he got badly. Well, it went badly wrong, didn't it?
He got it. I don't think we criticised Postecoglou as much if he had kept the back four as what he'd been doing, or if he had just bloody put Spence there. What I can't understand is why it was Archie Gray going right side the defence. And, he talks about wanting to protect these young lads. Well, this poor boy has had to play all sorts of positions this season, positions that he's probably not going to play. So for me, he got it wrong, but he got it badly wrong because it's not, I don't think anyone would have seen that. At the very least, you're thinking Archie Gray, Bergvall, Pape Sarr. You could play Jed Spence on the right. You can play Dragushin, Ben Davis, and you can put Reguilon. This insistence on not wanting to do the obvious is the reason why he keeps getting shot in the foot. And that's why I think, actually, it's all well and good him putting his hand up, but that's a poor mistake to make, I think. Very, very poor.
And it left, when the wing-back system works, like all systems work, they all fail, right? They all work and they all fail. When the wing-back system fails, usually when people hit balls over the top, down the wings behind your wing-backs, or you get in behind them. I mean, that first goal, when Pape Sarr, who's not in the best form either, puts the ball across, and square ball across midfield, got intercepted, didn't it? And then like a clear run at our back line without no one being proactive. Someone should have taken the initiative and gone there. Even if you take a yellow card for the team, you stop that. You stop that from happening. I mean, what was your take? What was your take on the goal? First goal.
Yeah, the first goal for me it was very simple. Unfortunately, you've got Archie Gray, who was turned inside out. Not because he's not a good player, but he's just lost his ball bearings. He's been so used to playing left-sided defence centre, and then he's been asked to play on the right-hand side of the three. It's not the same thing. It's a completely different demand. There's a different shape. There's different space now that's been created. And you want him to learn that all in the moment when we're already devoid of any confidence anyway. So for me, it was just a disaster from the off. And look, I don't think the players, I don't know how the players could have done more, because this is what I mean by sometimes it's up to the gaffer to keep things simple, so that even if they keep it simple, you give them every possible tool to put on a good performance. But I just think the way he set us up for failure. And unfortunately, we were 3-0 down. When he reverted it back to normal, all of a sudden the boys knew where they were, and we were able to bring back 2 goals. I mean, so it shows you that this wasn't like the players not wanting to get in. They just didn't know their left from their right, unfortunately, and that's what it was.
Yeah, I mean, then that was the first goal, and then the second goal that they scored, again, a lot of free space on their left to come charging down, cuts in. Blasting it. I mean, they were good goals. If we'd have scored their goals, they would have been good goals from our point of view, but they're also poor goals to give away, weren't they?
Yeah. Very poor.
And the third one was just like a bit unlucky on Gray there, to get that. And then it all changed in the second half, and we had chances. I mean, they only had, believe it or not, if you look at the stats for the game, the stats are mental. This is why I'm more an eye test man when I go rather than stats. Yeah. We both had 6 shots on target. Admittedly, though, Everton could have scored a couple of more because Kinski made a couple of blinding saves, right, as well, really good saves. So, and believe it or not, we had something like 601 passes to their 327, and we had 64% possession. If you're watching that game, you're not seeing that way, are you? You're not.
I did a watch-along for that game, and I was saying in my watch-along, I don't think Spurs get 4 shots on target the whole game. And I don't remember 4 shots on target, yet you're telling me that we had 6. So I'm pleasantly surprised because I don't remember.
We scored 2 goals. Sonny had 2 chances, one straight at the keeper. Why he wasn't aiming for the corner, I don't know. So there was that. And then you had, But that's the stats, and I go to one football and drag the stats down afterwards, you know, just to see what I've missed, you know.
Yeah,
And
no, 100%,
you know,
100%,
the
100%.
tackles were pretty even and all that, but like we do a lot of tippy tappy stuff. That's why we get a lot of passes, right? And Everton weren't coming at us. So they were 3-0 as well. Then they might have, in their minds, they might have sat back a bit, but they still did try to come forward in that game.
I felt the only thing I would say, Adrian, is I felt in that first half we were poor. You know, to be 3-0 down at Goodison Park, I don't think I've ever seen that in my life so far. And I didn't see us coming back into the game. And the way the first half went, I didn't actually see us scoring a goal. And I did say that I'd be surprised if Spurs score. And you're right. When you look at the stats paints a more positive picture. And I think that's what Postecoglou, unfortunately, and I know I'm going around here, but I think he does that a lot. That game was rubbish. And I think the goals we scored weren't fantastic either. Do you know what I mean? They were scrappy goals. We managed to score 2 goals, like we managed to score 3 goals per Liverpool. But we were never really in this game. We never looked like getting a point. We never looked like we were going to win. You know, we looked soft. And I feel like the late goals, like the late goals we had against Liverpool, just papers over the cracks. Had it been 3-0, I really think Postecoglou could have been on the chopper. But 3-2 doesn't look as bad. Obviously, like 6-3, it's not as bad as 6-0. But really and truly, it should have been 6-0.
Yeah, I mean, Decky's goal in other games. I mean, like that would be down to sort of a goal of the month goal, because that goal scored there. I mean, you said scrappy, but to chip it over those players, that was a good goal. It was a good goal.
It's a good goal, but a part of me felt how, and forgive me, I'm not trying to be negative, it was kind of lucky. You know, he's managed to chip it over the defenders' heads, and it's just bent down under the crossbar and in. I mean, that is bloody inch perfect. If you're being honest, that is an inch perfect goal. He's either a genius or he was lucky. Look, either way, a goal's a goal. What I'm saying is that he could easily have missed that, you know, and that's not criticism on Decky. That was a hard finish to do, and he managed to get it in. So respect to him for doing that.
What's this, James? Why did Andrews Madison win when we had real wingers? Yang and Moore on the bench. Madison was god awful and couldn't pass it down, but Sonny when he was in scoring position. Yeah, I mean, look, Yang Min Hook, he's obviously not ready. He's got to get up to the levels at demanding levels of the Premier League fitness-wise, isn't it? So if he's on the bench, if he was going to come on, he's going to get minutes. He's not going to get a half hour even, like, you know, just a taste. Moore, yeah, I love the player. I mean, like, so, yeah, I was hoping he would start him. I did a team selection, had him starting, actually, because of all their injuries, you know.
It's hard to start him, because if you start, you know, Ming Hook, or you start Moore, you've already got Bergvall, you've already got Archie Gray on the pitch, you've already got, you know, I mean, these are you've got 3 of your 11 who are 18 and below. I mean, they could be in secondary school. You know what I mean? College kids. You can't rely on college kids to be bringing you and saving you in a Premier League game. I think you can have 1 or 2, but when you start getting into the threshold where we're going into, where we're starting to play 3 or 4 kids, I do think then you're asking for trouble. Not now. I mean, for all 4 of them to be playing at the same time, they've all got to be generational talents. I think they're top talents, but Bergvall, Moore, Archie Gray, all on the pitch at the same time, I think it's just too much. I don't even see City wouldn't play the 3 of them at the same time. Liverpool wouldn't play the 3 of them at the same time. They're just not ready yet. 2-3 years from now, they are Stonewall first 11 starters. But to look at them now and ask them to put on a job for us, I think it's unfair on those lads, because I wanted them to be eased into the team. And what we're doing to them is we're not easing them in. We're throwing them into the bloody ball pit. You know what I mean? They're in the arena, in the pit, right in the heat of the action. And I just hope Postecoglou talks about this experience will only make them stronger. I really hope it does. I really hope this experience doesn't break those boys, because they are really top talents, and I really want them to be managed carefully.
Well, I mean, take Gray. He wouldn't have got all the appearances he's got if it weren't for our injury crisis, because he's made about 24 appearances now for the team.
It's madness.
And probably that was probably the worst we see of him was against Everton.
Yeah. But he's made 24 appearances in a position that he won't be playing for Spurs in the future. So the argument is, how much has he developed? How much has he learned? Because he's not going to be playing centre-back for Spurs. Well, at least I hope not.
Yeah, and Bergvall looks better every time I see him play. He just looks better. He's like a driving force, like a Bentancur getting forward, but he's got a long range of passing him. He's got a long range of passing him, which is excellent. And his vision, and that's good. He does try one or two. I don't mind him being brave. He tries one or two things. He loses the ball occasionally when he's trying to drive at someone and ball carry the ball like a proper number 8. I like this kid. You can't fault Gray. To me, he is a squad member now. He's another Reading squad member now. I think Bergvall still a little bit more to see of him, but I still think he's closing in.
I think Bergvall is a quality player. I think the issue we have, Adrian, and I can tell even in your voice why you're hesitating, is you can't say much more than what you've just said, because you've not seen the boys in their rightful position. And this is why I talk about why I loved Harry Redknapp. Harry Redknapp would be like, are you a right winger? All right, perfect. Go right wing. Are you a striker? You're a striker. Bergvall is a number 10. If you watch the footages of him in Sweden, for me, he's a 10, unless Ashmatic, the Mr. Analyst himself, my brother, tells me otherwise. Bergvall is a 10 that we've got playing as an 8 or sometimes a 6 or some sort of cross between 8 and 6. But really, he's a 10. We've got Archie Gray, who's a 6 playing centre-back. So we sit here saying what good talent they are, but you can't judge. You don't know how good Bergvall is. You don't know how good Archie Gray is. All we can do is hazard a guess because of how they're performing in a position that isn't their position. But I want to see Bergvall in the 10 and Archie in the 6 and see if does that even bloody work. Do you know what I mean? Does that work as a midfield and have Cooley in the 8? That would be very interesting. That could be the future. I think they've shown that they have something about them, but I want to see them in their rightful place, if that makes sense. And as for Yang, he's not ready. And if we threw him on there, he would have got eaten up. And I don't know why we're looking at Yang. He's for the future. So we're looking at Archie Gray 18, Bergvall 18, Mikey Moore 17, Yang 18. That's who we're looking to bring Spurs out of the mud. We're in trouble. We're in trouble. These boys should be allowed to ease in next season, more games, and then the season after when they start to cement their first team positions. So, it's interesting, but I do hope they're as good as their potential is showing us.
Right, we welcome Ash Mack on the show. Been trying to get him on for quite a while, but all us podcasters, we're all busy, aren't we? And we've got lives as well.
Tell me about it.
So,
happy birthday, man. Happy birthday. First
all right, thank you. Yeah.
Happy birthday, Jim.
Yeah. So
you share the same birthday with my son, mate. So that's even extra special. So excellent.
All right, okay.
Yeah,
right.
I've got a good friend as well. It's her birthday, 21st. So
we've discussed a bit of the Everton game, and we're talking about a few of the players, and what's your take on what you've seen of Bergvall so far?
Bergvall, it's crazy. Before he came to the club, I actually thought he was going to be an 8. I see what Deji's saying in terms of he's got attributes that he looks like a 10. He looks like he could play further up the pitch and he could hurt teams. I wasn't sure about his ability to shoot and strike the ball outside the box, if that makes sense. Just behind that striker, I hadn't seen that quite yet. I know he scored for us against Liverpool in the cup, but I wasn't sure how much of a killer he was. But as an 8, I've seen he can carry the ball up the pitch. I've seen his box to box is quite tidy at times. He can switch the ball, play the balls into the channel. So he's quite aggressive as well, like in the tackle. So, but he's still very raw in terms of decision making. That still needs to improve in terms of like checking his mirrors, checking his shoulders, scanning the pitch. That needs to be worked on a lot more as well. He does have it in his locker, but I just need to see it a bit more frequent, just to separate him from like the rest of the pack to say, okay, because I was looking at him versus Ødegaard. I know I shouldn't do it, but you could just see the levels. Do you know what I'm trying to say? When Ødegaard was on the ball and it was Gray versus, because Gray was not Gray, sorry, Bergvall was in the 10 and so was Ødegaard, innit? But when Ødegaard took the ball, plucked out from the sky, turned on it, knew what to do instantly, I was like, yeah, I think Bergvall needs more games. He needs more minutes. He needs more rhythm. He still needs to adjust to this league because he's still young. He's still young in the game in terms of how much minutes he's had on the pitch, how much time he's had on the pitch to get an understanding of the players, like understand different opposition. Every time he plays a Premier League team, try and know he's never faced them before. He's coming up against someone that he doesn't know their movement patterns. He doesn't know what type of player. You know, like after like a season or 2 seasons, you get used to the Premier League because you know, cool. If I don't know, Anderson picks up the ball from Nottingham Forest, he likes to take his first touch on his right, and then because he's not too great on his left foot, all right, cool. I know how to close a gap on him to force him on his left. You know, small little like details like that. He's not gonna know until he's had a full season and a half in this league, and so it's not even just like you see like the difference between him and Archie Gray. Archie Gray's had a whole season with English football, where this guy is coming from a different country altogether, and it's another level up as well. So it's not even just the speed in which we play out and the physicality that we play out, but it's upstairs. You know what I'm saying? That he's got to think 2 steps ahead, because that's what football is. Football, like one thing you have in the physical attributes, like having the frame, the body, you know, or even like the speed and the power. But if you ain't got it upstairs, if you're not quick upstairs, you're useless. You know that as you guys know that as ballers, you need to be upstairs quick. So he's learning that on the job. Do you understand? Whilst needing the coaching, I know the coaches are trying to teach him, you know, where to be on the pitch, just in case. Like, all right, cool. If my man loses the ball, I need you here. Do you understand? If that person's pushed on, I need you to cut. Like, so little things like that. The little devil in the details when they sit down and they do the video analysis, and he's watching himself back. He's got to kind of like learn on the job. I'm trying to say it, because let's face it, how many players in that midfield is he really going to learn off? Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Other than that, say if you're saying actually, I think Archie Gray is going to be a midfielder and he's going to be a 10, then you probably say Maddison. But then the pressing side of the game from Maddison is not really there, so he can't really learn of Maddison in terms of winning the ball back, knowing where to be on the pitch. You know what I'm saying? So it depends on what, like, how you profile this player and how the coaches also develop him, because he's still quite
he can tackle. I think Gray's recoveries are good though. Gray's better at recoveries, so that's good. Yeah, let's Deji, one of the other shining lights. We know what we've got with Decking. We know Slanky is what he is. He's proven light, but Spence, he's been a shining light. It seems to be all these kids have shown all the experienced players up.
Yeah, I mean, I've been banging on about Spence since Conte. And anyone knows, you know, I'm going to be shameless here, Adrian. I've been saying play Spence from when we bought him. I was delighted when we got him in. I didn't understand why Conte didn't play him. And then I was delighted that Postecoglou kept him in the squad. And then I was perplexed when he wasn't playing him. Jed Spence is a baller. Has been. If you watch him for Nottingham Forest, he was ripping people. He's exactly what you need at right back. So am I surprised that Jed Spence is doing well? No. What I am surprised about, though, is that he's doing well at left back as well. And, you know, I'm arguing now that when Udogie and Porro are both available, I know Porro's fine, but when Udogie's back, I'm arguing that Jed Spence must start ahead of one of those 2 players. Do you know what I'm saying? And again, this goes to why I'm a little bit more aggrieved with Postecoglou. You had this talent. what the hell were you looking at during training? He could have come in a lot earlier. Maybe you could have rested Udogie a lot earlier. Maybe we have Udogie available now and they can swap between. You know, maybe Porro gets rested a bit earlier, because a lot of people are saying that you know, Porro's poor form is because he's played the most games for Spurs this season. Well, why is that? When you've got Jed Spence who can do a job. So yes, I'm delighted for the lad, and I really do hope, whether under Postecoglou or not, that people start to treat him with respect. But for me, after Decky, he's the next best player for Spurs this season.
Yeah, big call, big call. Spence, Ash.
Yeah, Spence is a good player. I think the problem with Spence at the moment is he's playing out of position and he's getting caught out defensively. Like, I talk about a lot of players on the ball, what they can offer. And there's no doubt we've got many players that are top talents. But at the moment, where we have to look at where the defensive frailties lie in our team. So when I look at Spence, and obviously he's playing out of position, he's getting caught out because he's a right-sided player playing at the left back. And because when you're a right back playing at left back, your peripheral vision, right, is going to be on your right-hand side. So you're only going to see the right-hand side of the pitch, if that makes sense. So the left-hand side, he's not going to be able to see. And so when the ball goes in behind, or sometimes I call it the third man pass, or a 1-2, when the person's making that pass in behind him, he can't see on his left shoulder because he's so used to seeing what's in front of him or what's on the right-hand side. And I've seen a couple of times balls have been played and he's not able to turn, he's not able to check his shoulder, his left shoulder, and he's not able to defend it. And I've seen Newcastle get behind him. I saw it against Arsenal, and then recently again I saw it.
But that's not his fault, though.
No, but yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm not putting that on him.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, like, as a fullback, because we're saying the doggy versus Spence, aren't we? And I'm saying defensively, the doggy hasn't been great. I can't lie, but I'm just saying that equally we still have an issue with Spence playing a right back and back. Do you see what I'm trying to say? So we're looking at pointing the finger at the club. We're saying, yo, bro, we still need a left back. Like, what's going on? Do you understand? So, like, Spence not back up. Even he should be, like you said, starting ahead of Porro at certain times, because Porro's been off form, and Porro definitely doesn't check his mirrors, because the amount of times he's out and also playing out of position, and he's having to run back, and he hasn't told his mate, "Oh, look, I'm going up the field. Could you just fill in for me? Because I'm just going to pop up here." But equally at the same time, the centre back needs to be screaming at him. If I'm a centre back, I'm like, bro, where are you going? Like, do you know what I'm saying? But then I'm asking, is that an instruction from the coaching staff and the management? Like, because surely they're seeing what's going on and they're leaving either 2 centre backs threadbare or even 3 centre backs at certain times. And then it begs the question, because if we're talking about Everton, we played 3 at the back. Then you've got Archie Gray playing effectively as a right-sided centre back, which really, when the 3 centre backs split, your left-sided centre back becomes a left back, and your right-sided centre back becomes a right back, and then you've got a man in the middle that defends the middle of the pitch. So then Archie Gray, when he jumped, and then that space was left in behind and left Dragusin all by himself against Ndai, and Ndai turned him inside out, like I'm saying, and then banged it top bins. Like, you have to say to the coaching staff, bro, like, what are the players doing? Why is he jumping in that situation and leaving Dragusin alone by himself? You might as well start with back 2 then, if I'm making sense. Why are we on the back 3? So I remember, if we're not going to dig out Archie Gray for it because he's a youngster and it's not his fault, then the blame has to lie on the coaching staff. Do you know what I'm saying? Playing like players like managers like Ryan Mason. If you don't want to go at Postecoglou, I'm just saying you have to go at Ryan Mason, you have to go at Benelek, you have to go at what's his face?
Well, the coaches, you've got Nick Montgomery.
You know what?
You've got Matty Wells and Ryan Mason. You've got Milo Jedinik as well, 5, and Rob Birch is the goalkeeping coach.
But I don't even want to get that complicated, Ash. I was just saying to Adrian just before you came, I agree. You know, people just think There's a reason why when players have certain positions, you don't just move them around. You won't see Gabriel and Saliba swap. It's centre back, but one's left and one's right because of what you say. Things like the peripheral vision, how you see the game, what you're used to.
Yeah.
So to go with a back three, Archie Gray's been on the left side centre back, and now you put him on the right hand side of a three. He's lost in space, mate. He's looking for
saying, like, so whose fault is that? Who are we blaming for that decision?
So that's got to be Ange, because surely common sense would say, let's not make it complicated.
Your body shape is different as a defender when you challenge, if you're playing out of position. I mean, the perfect example for this, which was me clutching at straws, when we lost the first game at the new stadium against West Ham, when Antonio scored, Vertonghen was injured, so Toby had to play left centre-back. And the way, like, your body shape when you stand as you go is no, right? If you're right-footed, you're going to lead with your right foot, not your... And I couldn't help thinking that once he'd done Alderweireld and scored in the corner, I was at the bar afterwards and I was frustrated as hell. We lost to them, you know what I mean? And I'm saying to my mate, I went, I can't help thinking that a left centre-back might have stopped that goal. May not have, but might have, because he would have, your shape's different when you come into a player. You'd have been coming this way rather with the right foot. I mean, does that make sense? I mean,
it makes sense.
100%. Like, for me, it's like, for footballers, you need agility, you need mobility. And when I look at players like a Dragushin, because I'm pretty sure that's what we're getting onto, you need to be on your toes. I feel like sometimes he moves like Dyer in terms of, like, he doesn't engage in the actual press. He doesn't engage in the tackle. So what he does is he backs off. And then when it's time to engage, it's too late because he can't see what's left or right of him, but the player can. So your player is forcing you in a certain scenario where he's like, as soon as you make that forward step or you plant your foot down, I can shift my body weight the way. And because you've planted your foot, I can use my agility to beat you. As a defender, you need to be on your toes. Do you know what I'm saying? And the way Dragushin is, he's just struggling with his positioning. He's struggling to know where to be in the back three or a back two at times. He doesn't know the distances as well, because as a defender, you need to make the pitch as small as possible, or you got to force him down a certain way. Do you understand? So when you're talking about body shape and you know players stronger on a certain foot, you've got to show him onto his weaker foot, and you've got to show that angle. Like, look, go down this side. Do you know what I mean? If you show him on a stronger foot, then you're saying, look, I need my centre back buddy to be alongside me. So if he does beat me, I'm showing him into traffic. Am I making sense?
Yeah.
Go on. But what I wanted to say is, why can't Postecoglou see this? I'm not even going to blame Dragushin. Your job as a manager is to look at the talent that you have in front of you, give them the instructions, try and make life as easy as possible, keep it simple. For me, if I was going to go with a back three, Dragushin all day long had to be on the right-hand side. I wouldn't have had him in the centre because he was lost. Also, do you know what I'm saying? Like, all of that's going through my head. And I also just want to big up Roundtable Talk, who said he's got an announcement after watching enough Spurs content. He's blown his hamstring for 4 to 6 weeks also. That's going to be one of the funniest comments I've seen in a long time. But do you get what I mean, Adrian Ash? It's like, I agree with you about Dragushin, but that's the man, because he's just going to say, yeah, I want to play. Surely Postecoglou should have worked that out.
I will go one step further, and I agree with you, because it makes logical sense. If you're playing a back three and you want the central centre back to step up to play into the number 6 role, because that's the whole point of having a back three, is that you don't have to play a 6, because the third centre back can step up at times. Then Archie Gray fits that mold even more. But I'll go a step further and say whoever recruited Dragushin has blood on their hands, because he does not suit the system moving forward. Like, Spurs need to do something where we stop being a sentimental FC and we just cut players. When you know, like, okay, this player's not suiting the system, or the player's lost his legs, or this player's just not right for what we have, for what we're moving, what we're trying to be. I don't think this player's right for us. We need to cut ties, because that's what the other big clubs are really good at. They're really good at being cutthroat. And I thought when Ange came in, the reason why he said, actually, I don't get involved with the players. I let them have their own space and I let them do their thing. It's because I'm an overseer kind of manager, and that allows me to be more like, I don't get emotionally tied, because I've heard a lot of players, ex-players, say that, oh, we didn't really have conversations with him. We don't really he never let us got too close. So I thought Andrew would be kind of ruthless in that kind of sense, where if he's going to be that manager and he's not the coach, he's going to say, look, that player's not good enough. I need to get rid of them. That player's not good enough. It's not right for my system. I need to get rid of him. And I'm open moving forward, like a Dragushin or players like that don't fit the system, in my opinion. Sorry, Adrian, go on.
That's all right. No, that's fine. That's fine. Yeah, but I mean, is an agent, Florian Manea, reckon Spurs are only a stepping stone for Real Madrid? I mean, he's got more chance of going to Frey Bentos than going to Juventus, doesn't he? You know what I mean?
He's doing what he's meant to be doing, bro. Because look, at the end of the day, like, he's getting minutes, so other teams could look at him and think, actually, yeah, I could use him in my system. I think he'll suit our team a lot better. And the agent say, look, we've got the best player. Bayern Munich wanted him. This team wanted him. Now Napoli's bitting onto that. So I'm not mad at it. I'm like, raw agent, keep doing your work, keep talking it up, because you might get a Fiorentina, a Lazio, a Napoli. Do you know what I mean? Whoever it is, they might look at him and say, yeah, actually, we'll give you your money back. Whatever you invested in them, we will pay back. And that's good for Spurs. So we get our money and we can slap that up on top of another defender that may suit our system. And that's what you do.
We've got three huge talents. I mean, like, Dorrington and Ashley Phillips are huge talents. But what I've seen of Luka Vustovic, I mean, this kid's 70. All them three centre-backs are 6'3". Ashley's 6'4". Phillips is 6'4". The other two, I think Vuskovic is almost 6'3.5" or something. Dorrington. And they're all bowlers. They're all bowlers as well, right? And they're just good. But I mean, people should go and have a look at Vuskovic.
So why don't we bring back Ashley Phillips? Because I mean, he's ready to go for me.
Well,
that's the bit I'm struggling with. I'm really struggling.
No, it's not a struggle for me. It's not a struggle for me. If you've got players out on loan that are developing, for me, you leave them out on loan. If you bring Phillips back, once VDV and Romero fit, he's going to sit on a bench all the time, or have to go back to the under 21. So, like, that's not good for his development. We've had this issue. This is why Scarlett's coming back now, and he'll be loaned out again. And people forget Scarlett's only about 20. He scored a wonderful goal against Shakhtar Donetsk when Kane scored them 4 in his last match for us, what it was. So, yeah, but on the centre-backs issue, we'll talk about that when we go about the transfer window, right? Dragusin, look, he's quick. He's good in the air. His football IQ, he's got to improve. His positional play has been poor. He got sent off against Karabag, wasn't it? And things like that. Yeah. And he got caught upfield when Liverpool went over the top in a 6-3 and things like that. I'll judge it. Again, he's looked good for Romania in the Euros and things like that. He has been hit and miss. He hasn't been awful all the time. He has been hit and miss, but it's like, I need a bigger sample of him, really.
All right, let me ask you this then.
I think he's been awful.
Wait, well, hold on. Wait. Let me ask you this, yeah? If you look at Davinson Sanchez, that club fans absolutely hated him, Davinson Sanchez. Do you know what I'm saying? They were like, he is terrible, he's the worst footballer ever, blah, blah, blah. I look at Davinson Sanchez now, and I'm like, actually, you had a lot more pace than what Dragusin has. Do you know what I'm trying to say? Like, you've got a similar amount of physicality than what Dragusin has. You see what I'm trying to say? So it's like we sold Sanchez, and then we've brought in a Dragusin who's like, he moves like on the half turn, like getting him to turn like it's crazy. Like, do you know what I'm saying?
I agree because but I do think sometimes I actually think, and maybe because it's so personal to me with my son, and you know, I dread the day he's getting criticized by fans all over the world. These are all good players, but it's how you use them. Dragusin for Romania when I see Dragusin, I see a Romanian John Terry. Old school, wants to tackle, wants to win headers. He doesn't want to be doing this fluffy running back all the time. You know, he's winded, he's tired, he's puffing and puffing. Could you imagine John Terry playing this high line? Could you imagine that? He would have been a disaster. He just wants to sit back. He's actually the perfect defender for Postecoglou. You know, when we had Conte We needed that one defender, that third one who could do the job. Dragoshin would have been that guy. But, he's left. And I almost feel like you were saying, Adrian was saying earlier, a bit like we were just a bit half a yard off it compared to Everton, 0.5. And I feel like we've been like that with our transfers. We are literally 0.5 behind the curve. Instead of buying players for the future, which they're starting to do now with the kids, we've always been a manager behind what is actually needed in the moment.
We're going to come on to that now. I'll come on to that now, actually. Latest transfer window. The transfer window closes Monday, the 3rd of February at 11 o'clock in the evening. So that's 13 days. Right? Now, I think people tend to think more of buyers. Now, I'm always looking around like the loan market rules. You're allowed 6 loans, a maximum of 4 foreign, and a maximum of 2 home. So, Ash, nice, easy question. What are the most urgent positions to fill?
I think because Van der Ven and Romero are due to be back.
But
Go on.
they're due to be back, but they can go anytime.
They're due to be back now. He may surprise us. It may even be this week against Hoffenheim, which we'll get to later. But they are definitely due to be back before Liverpool and the second leg of the semi-final of the Carabao Cup. But now we've got the 2. We got Hoffenheim, Leicester at home Sunday. Then we got Elfsborg, and then we've got that game. So,
do you know what? It's mad because up front, we're actually still scoring goals as it goes. It's weird. We're like 5th or 4th best, high scoring team in the league, which doesn't make any sense.
2nd, I think we are.
So some people would argue that, scoring goals isn't an issue, but I still don't like that front line. For me personally, I feel like something wrong.
I hate it.
Sonny, it's not Son. That's not Son I'm looking at. That's a different brother. That's a different creator out there.
He got the numbers last year, but he had, in the end of the 23-24 season, he had that hernia operation, didn't he?
Yeah.
And it's a bit like Udogie didn't have a pre-season, and we know Udogie's going to be a superb footballer for us, but he had that muscle injury, and he didn't even have a pre-season. Udogie, he got played, and he just didn't look right to me. He didn't look right, and he was still trying. I think all he was going to do was going to aggravate his previous injury, But yeah, I mean, Son doesn't look Son. I mean, he's still got
Yeah, so
but to the eye test, he doesn't look like Sonny. Is the thing.
Yeah, so I was looking at that left side, and I'm like, obviously Mikey Moore comes in, but Mikey Moore as a goal threat. I'm still not. I haven't seen any evidence yet. So that's what I'm looking at. I'm looking at that left hand side, and I'm thinking, right, we might need help there. I look at the right hand side. Kulu's gone back there at times, and again, it's just not that same threat that when he's in the midfield, he's a bit inconsistent on that right hand side. Do you know what I mean? He does have some upside in terms of looking after the ball and blah blah blah, but in terms of the goal threat, because I feel like there's a myth. Everyone's saying we need wingers, we need touchline wingers. And now when I'm doing my research on the actual 4-3-3, the reason why you have three forwards. It's not one striker and 2 wingers. It's actually three. It's actually 3 forwards. And yes, they do start out wide. And everyone's looking at Man City and looking at our situation, thinking, all right, Man City's got wingers, therefore we must need wingers as well. But I honestly think the way Postecoglou was trying to play it, he was trying to play it with 3 forwards. That's just my opinion. I could be wrong. That's how I was looking at it. Because for him to recruit Johnson and Werner, both of them aren't wingers. Both of them aren't wingers. If you look at Werner, when he was playing at RB Leipzig, he was playing just off the striker. He was playing a second striker. He wasn't playing that wide. He was playing just behind, forget the guy's name. And we were, forget the guy's name he was playing off, but he was playing secondary striker just off of him. Even when he went to Chelsea at first, he wasn't staying out wide. They played him as a secondary striker, and then they played him out wide certain times for part of the season. Then they tried to, because Tuchel likes to change it. Do you know what I mean? So for me, and he was meant to be Son's like stopgap, because remember, Son went off to the Asian games. So to me, in my head, he looked at Werner as a forward as opposed to Werner as a winger. Then Johnson, again, if you looked at Johnson for Nottingham Forest, he was played as an inside forward, a wide forward. Do you know what I'm saying? And he used to link up with Morgan Gibbs-White quite a bit, but he was always playing that forward role. So maybe I'm thinking that's what he wanted. He wanted 2 forward players, and then when he wanted to switch things up, then he would get like a winger on, because I know we had Solomon. Solomon was the only type of winger we had in that position, because even Richarlison, he's a forward player. He's not really a winger like that. He's more of a forward. And
he was very on Solomon though. I mean, that 5-2 away win at Burnley when he gave Son 2 assists.
Yeah,
that was the best. It was the best we served before he got injured. But it made cameos. It come on for like 15 minutes in a couple of games, and he was on the right hand side. This time he was on the left. We got an abundance of players that can play on the left. Mikey Moore can play both sides, because for England they play him on the right. Like for under 21s, they were playing him on the right. I think in England he was playing on the left or the other way around. I can't remember now. But Solomon, he's doing well at Leeds. But again, they loaned him out because he had no pre-season. So that's fine.
But this is what I'm saying. It depends on what do they want? Do they want a winger that, like people say, hug the touchline, beats their man, and creates for whoever's in the number 9 position, or do we actually want 3 forwards where sometimes the number 9 drops in, he gets that ball, and he's like the first point of contact. He's the hold-up man. Do you know what I'm saying? When he gets the ball, he lets those other 2 wide forwards go in and run off him. A bit like what Brighton do. You see Matoma, sometimes he plays out wide, but sometimes he runs off. Or Minte. Minte sometimes plays out wide, and then he runs off, and they both contribute towards their goals. Do you see what I'm saying? It's not just the number 9's job to score the goals. It's the front 3, their jobs to score the goals. So it depends on how they perceive it. But I just feel that front 3 ain't working. It's just something's not right about it. So
it lacks cohesion. There's not enough fluidity, is there? Like, so you wouldn't say, "Oh, like this is a good front 3." We score goals because the way we play, but it's just it's sort of clunky. It's clunky.
It's clunky because they're not good enough. So Ashmatic's assessment there, that does make logical sense, and I see why. Because as soon as Solanke came in, I'm just remembering like the West Ham game, he was literally dropping deep and feeding Son. But I think for a system like that to work, you need an Embremo, you need a Joe Linton, you need people that can drive down the pitch, who are strong and they can get a shot off. Brennan Johnson cannot beat a man. So what is the point? And neither can Werner. They can't beat anyone. So that means it's just, and the worst thing in football if you play is having constant failed attempts, and that's what we have. The other thing is, and why I think that assessment is of the forward rather than wingers, I've been bemoaning the fact that apart from the Newcastle game at home, I can't remember Spurs ever crossing the ball into the box. That's just like a thing of the past. I would just like to see a good old-fashioned cross. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I'm with you. I'd like to see more crosses in the box, not necessarily before people keep going on about Solanke and his headers. I think in 152 Premier League games, he scored 6 goals with his head, right? But it doesn't mean you shouldn't put crosses in the box, because you can cause a bit of chaos. A defender might mishead it. It might splash around in a penalty area, and you get a toe to it, and you've got a goal. So for that point of view, crosses, yeah. And how many teams do it? Because they all play inverted wingers to get the wingers into the closed space, so they can narrow the passing will be more accurate from the closed space to a striker rather than trying to hit a cross out from the wing. Great when goals are scored from crosses. They look wonderful, When Sarr crossed for Maddison at Villa away last year, and he goes in between the defenders and smashes it in the net. I mean, They look great, but you don't see too many of them, do you?
You don't.
Yeah, so
Everyone plays inverted wings. Go on, Ash. Go on, Ash.
yeah, no, but we can all chime in. It's all good. It's all love. So that's my issue at the moment. Like you guys were saying, Johnson for me lacks the upper body strength, the physicality, the power of a wide man. Do you understand? As a forward player, Werner does take his man on, but lacks confidence in terms of front of goal. So it's like, what's the point? Do you understand? But he's injured now anyway. He's done his hamstring, so he's out of the equation. So as I said, Son's low on confidence. He's completely out of it. Even like the last thing you expect him to do is to finish. He's not even finishing now. Do you know what I'm saying? So it's like, for me, I would have always played Son closer to the striker, so he's got less running to do. And even when we're defending, I would say, look, Sonny, just kind of stay close to, make him the furthest forward player. Because if he's not got physicality either, that means he can't defend the half spaces that we need to do when teams are transitioning us. And I think that's a massive problem. Well, ridiculing the fullbacks for being too high up the pitch. But then when you defend, you need to defend as a team. And you need your wingers to help out your fullbacks. And teams are hitting us in the transition. Why? Because the space is always in those pockets. No one's coming across. And you can't expect your number 6 or whoever's playing the DM role to cut across, cover the left back or cover the right back and cover the middle. It's a nonsense. It's not going to work. So you're going to need 2 of your wide players. If you watch Bournemouth or if you watch Newcastle, you see there Semenyo helping out the fullbacks. You see a Gordon tucking in, helping the fullback. Do you know what I'm saying? And that's where we become a bit frail. That's where defensive frailties start to appear. So I'm like, you're still asking me what is the most urgent position to fill. I'm still scratching my head because I'm like, actually, if I look at the centre backs positions, you guys are kind of right. At the same time, like Van der Ven's coming back, but now I feel like his career is, I don't know, it's up in the air,
isn't it? Yeah,
the hamstring is a reoccurring issue now. It's not even a thing where can he even trust his body. I remember when he got that second hamstring injury, he looked devastated. I felt like his career is done now. There's no way he's going to fully open his legs up and sprint to the same power and same intensity. And you've seen it happen with top players like Reece James, do you know what I'm saying? Where he no longer trusts his body, you know what I mean? He's in and out. And I think it's that even small doubt. He feels a little something and he's pulling up. Like, get me off.
Ash, what about, I mean, to me, I was always taught decades ago, you know, when you played, most games are won and lost in midfield. Our midfield is so inconsistent. That could play a very big part in why our front three are clunky. Because you've got to gel as a team. You've got to be cohesive. You've got to be a cohesive unit, haven't you? And it's just not happening. And then you get players like Basuma and Madison, senior players. They just don't seem to have the consistency, you know. And I'm thinking, well, all right, Madison offers you something different when he's really on his game, like away at Man City when we won 4-0. But Basuma, I mean, I think he's the one who's probably most under threat. But we can't afford to get rid of anyone now. I mean, but in the summer, I can see them ditching Basuma unless he smashes it second half of the season. And Madison may also be under threat, you know.
So I just wanted to quickly chime in on what we need. I was thinking about it in the shower today, and I felt like in order to effectively play Postecoglou's system, and what I find really strange about people who have paid a lot of money is how dumb they are. Because for me, once something has happened before, the way that I plan my life, the way that I do business, there's a probability it could happen again. What I'd be doing is I'll be bringing in a top quality, none of this drop-off crap, a top quality left-sided centre-back. I would go after Mark Guy at Crystal Palace so that if Van der Ven does leave, if he gets injured, you've got Mark Guy. And in fact, what you do to manage it is you give them both equal game time. I think for Postecoglou to stay in the job, just like I would give equal game time between Kinski and Vicario. When I'm playing Newcastle, I'd rather have Kinski in goal. When I'm playing Man United, I'll have Vicario in goal. Then I'll bring in a Robertson from Fulham or a Kirkes. and they can alternate between them and Udogie. Let Porro and Jed Spence alternate. And then the big one is that Kulu and Madders alternate. Because part of the problem is these guys are bloody jaded. And then you bring in a quality. And I'm talking like, for me, I don't mind. If Kulu's going to play the 10, then I need to see like a David Luiz, or I like to see a Cunha type player. I like to see a Semenyo. Even if you want to keep Brennan Johnson, but I need someone to be the lead on the right, and I need someone to be the lead on the left, and then another striker like a Delap at Spurs. Mate, now we've got 2 bloody squads. We go at them. That would work. But, you know, one player here, one player. We don't want to bring in a centre-back because Van de Ven might come back. I'm hearing we don't want to bring a left-sided player because it's going to block Mikey Moore's route. Excuse me? Excuse me? Mikey Moore was gone for 2 months as well. Come on, guys.
Piero Nkappi's left-footed centre-back. He would do the job.
I don't think. Problem is, we could bring a left-sided centre-back. We still have the same issue because Romero looks like he's off. I'll be honest with you. That means Dragushin is our number 1 centre-back.
Oh, then get a right one then. Get a proper right one.
That's what I'm saying. So what, are we buying 2 centre-backs? Like,
yeah,
well, my theory on that was, because I've given this some thought actually. I was talking to Matt on the phone today about it. I said, well, I would go out and get Skriniar on a loan to buy. He's not quite 30 yet. It'll be 30 shortly.
I think he's terrible on the line. He's even worse.
Yeah. Well, the reason, well, I mean,
if you think
I haven't seen him recently. But, right. Well,
go on. Sorry.
All right. Then he could have gone for Jonathan Tah or something like that because he's at the end of his contract and he's captain of Germany, wasn't he? Like, you know, Leverkusen, is he? Or whatever.
All right, so I'll let you finish. Go on.
Yeah. No, the reason I'm thinking of Skriniar, having not watched him recently, is if you get him on a loan to buy, we don't know what's happened with Ben Davies, whether he's going to give an extension. And really, if you give him an extension, I get why you give him an extension of the loyalty and all that, but it doesn't take us forward, really, does it? It doesn't, right? So, and then, as you said, in the summer, Romero's down to 2 years on his contract. So to me, Romero, you either sign a new deal or you go, or we sell you, right? And then if you've got Skriniar on loan, you take up the buy option and you've got it covered. Or you do it with a similar right centre back if you don't like Skriniar. Like Ash doesn't seem that keen on him, so like that's fair enough. It's all subjective.
I think he would have been great for Conte, but it's like this is typical Spurs. We're always too late. The players that we need, when we need to get them, we don't move for them. So I think where we're in a position right now, Skriniar could come to the club. But in terms of other players that we're talking about, Jonathan Tah, players that you might like, Deji, we're 15th. Do you know what I mean? Players ain't going to want to come to Spurs at the moment. Spurs have heritage, but we don't have that modern day pool where players of the current modern day know enough about Spurs to say, yeah, you know what, Spurs are a top team. They're going to look at how Spurs are now and look at our position now and think, are they in a great position for me to come? So it's funny because when we were linked to Moani and people were turning their nose up to Moani, I was like, bro, do you know what position we're in at the moment? You're acting like we can go out there and get top players. Do you know what I'm saying?
And they want European football.
No, I know we can for now. Do you know what I'm saying? European, we gotta go win that damn thing then. We better go win that damn European trophy. Europa League. Yeah, we need to go and win that if we're gonna have any chance. If that's our only hope, if we do not win the Europa League, fans need to start changing their expectations on what type of players are coming to Spurs. I'm just letting you guys know.
And because we're not getting a European spot in this league. There's too much Grey Cup, and there's too many teams would have to all lose their games, and it's just not happening. It's just not happening.
Spurs aren't the type of team where we go out and we buy big players. We're the type of team that we buy the unknowns, the Modric. Nobody knew who Modric was when we bought him. Like we've always been a builder team. Bale from Southampton. You know what I'm saying? People didn't know what, Man United knew, a couple players like scouts knew who Bale was going to be. But you see what I'm trying to say? We always buy. So even like if we go for example, we're linked to Diblin. Now, Diblin, obviously, everyone can see he's a top talent. He's a player that could come in and do a job. But it kind of goes against what the club was saying, which means the club are lying again. They're saying we need more senior players to come in because the youngsters are doing all right. But actually, we made a mistake. We made a mistake. Andrew come out and he said, oh, actually, you know what? We got it wrong. You know, we did a long-term project but we didn't fix the short-term comings for the players that we need now. It's the senior players that are letting us down now. And so we need more senior players that are going to take us up to the next level. Now, the problem we have at the moment is they're not looking at senior players. We're getting linked to Diblin. We're getting linked to the Ipswich lad in the lap. Do you know what I'm saying? How old are those guys? They're young again. So I'm trying to say. So it's
these links, Saints, I mean, they're rubbish, right? And the reason they're rubbish, we've got a recruitment team. What the hell have they been doing since the summer, right? What they should have been doing is compiling lists of players just for future reference anyway, whether you're going in from or not. And so when we come to this window, we failed miserably. All right, we got Kingskin, which was a good left field. I mean, Odebert was left field as well when he was brought in, but he's injured, sadly, right? Rated by the manager of Bayern Munich now, company, because like he came through the PSG academy when he went to Burnley, didn't he? So, but like they're left field, more left field signings, and I think that's what you'll see. There'll be loans. There won't be. If you say marquee signings, now it's hard to name a marquee signing out there, isn't it? It's hard to think of one. I mean, so yeah. So I mean, I these latest reports, when you read them, you think that's not for now. That's not for now. You want something concrete from these poor media outlets. You want some like what they call solidity of specification. That something concrete to go on.
Which makes me think they've had a conversation in that board meeting. Do you know what I'm saying? And I feel like maybe they did have the players they were going to go on, and they were like, wait, hold on, hang on a second, wait. Let's see this game play out first. Hang on, wait. Let's see this game play out first. I feel like there's conversations happening and they're pulling back a little bit because there's no way we went super hard, got the keeper done quick. Then, as we've got the goalkeeper, we've obviously beaten Liverpool. Everyone was celebrating. And then after the Liverpool game, we had that. Is it Morecambe? Is it Morecambe we played? That non-league. Tamworth, sorry. Tamworth. Morecambe was seasons ago. Tamworth. We get into Tamworth and it doesn't quite go to plan. We've had to bring on the holders in extra time to kind of get us through. It's kind of smelly, yeah? All right, cool. We've got through that regardless. It doesn't matter. Then the next game that followed that was Arsenal, and I didn't have a high expectation of that game, in my honest opinion. But obviously we lost the game, and they were like, oh, hang on. Let's wait for the next game. You know what I'm saying? The next game happens. It doesn't quite go our way. So I don't know and remember at this last game, actually, even at Tamworth, I saw Munn, I saw Donna, I saw Langer, and obviously Levy was there, innit? Everton, Goodison Park. I saw Donna and I see Levy there. You see what I'm saying? Looking, they all got off the coach, they all went there. And I'm like, are they having conversations to say, let's hang on a second? I reckon, me personally, they're waiting to see what happens at Anfield. Do you know what I'm saying? They're waiting to see what happens for that. Because obviously that's the great hope that we beat Liverpool and we progress into the next round, we get to the final. Because they don't want to be beaten with a stick that they sacked another manager before a cup final. No, it's not the cup final, but it's still a semi-final. And so they know they haven't got anything to hide behind. They've got no fall guy because Ange is like, no, it's all on me. No, it's all my response. It's not me. It's not Levy. It's all on me. So,
well, even winning a trophy, Ash, I mean, that won't paper over the cracks if we don't see improvement when these players come back from injury. We need to see improvement. Otherwise, the cracks are still there being papered over, and you've nicked a trophy, and everyone's happy. But listen, the fans...
They know they can't sack him before that. You see what I'm trying to say? Because then it looks bad on them. So you're right, 100%. But at the same token, they can't sack the manager before a semi-cup final or one where he said he always wins in the second season, because then they'll be like this actual paternity, whatever you want to call it, they are not fit for purpose. And the people that have been supporting them and been backing them, all of a sudden they will turn. Do you understand? So they're in a kind of weird like purgatory. They're in a middle ground right now where they need to play it smart, and they need to sack him at the right time if they are going to sack him. But you're right, man. The league form and the League Cup won't save him. It won't.
No.
It will paper over cracks.
Levy is too cunning to sack him now. All the pressure and all the guns will point at him. Oh, exactly. You haven't got a replacement. Oh, it's Matty Wells or Ryan Mason, or it's Nick Montgomery and Serge Romain have got to take over, you know.
Exactly.
So, Deji, how many players do you think we'll get in this window?
We've got one. We got him, the goalkeeper. If we're lucky, we might bring in another 2 players at the final, at the final countdown or lastminute.com. But what those 2 players would be, I really can't tell you, because we need more than 2. For me, I was hoping that in Jan we were going to do 6. I think when we had Conte, we brought in 3, did we? We brought in Bentancur, Cooley. I can't remember who else we brought in that transfer window, but I can't see Spurs bringing in more than another 2 more signings.
We have done well in January transfer windows. We brought in Dele Alli, we brought in Lucas Moura, we brought in Bentancur, we brought in Kulu, we brought in Porro, but I think we also brought in Matt Jensen. Sure, I think we also brought in Werner. So but it's not, and we have failed better in recent transfer windows. And just on the money, I mean, we have spent money. We spent it too late on Poch when it come down to Lo Celso and Ndombele. We spent 40-odd thousand on Davison Sanchez and that. 60 million on Richarlison, and we've actually spent, believe it or not, 1.1 billion on players since the stadium opened in 2019. But the recruitment's been crap, right? You don't go out and buy Jack Clark, Joe Roden, players like that. You use the money for both of them to get one player in, or whatever it is. So,
I mean, I think we've been unlucky with Richarlison. I actually think Richarlison's a good striker. I know some people don't like him.
He's got half a season to prove it.
Yeah, but he's been injured, so I can't judge him. But what I can't understand is why we haven't bought better players. I look at Brighton. I would happily swap our squad for the Brighton squad all day long. And dare I say it, I'm starting to look at the Bournemouth squad with a little bit of a glint in my eye. So for me, I think you're right that the recruitment has been poor. I think what would have been excellent and would have shown intent from Spurs is if we had got Eze over the line. Eze could play anywhere along the front 3. We didn't. And it needs, over the years, we've always had players who were geniuses. David Ginola, Gareth Bale, Klinsmann, Berbatov, Sheringham. Maybe you could argue to a certain extent, maybe Cooley. Where are the geniuses? And we need more. We've always needed more to be able to compete. And I just feel like we've been very lazy with our transfer window. And Danny Rose, he kind of called it. Doesn't have to be a whole squad of unknowns. Couple of unknowns, but let's bring in the Ezes. Let's bring in the Cunhas. Let's bring in the Balabas. Do you know what I mean? Of this world, the Kirkezes. Do that. And I think Spurs, the Jed Spence, because I think Jed Spence was a name and he's proven his bits, in my opinion. Do that and Spurs are all right. I think as you called it, is it the best of the rest? We can literally pick players from Brighton. We can take players from Brighton. We can take players from Bournemouth. Are you joking? We can take players from Fulham, the best of the rest, and put forward a team that can challenge for the top 6. We could even take players off Villa. Come on, we are Tottenham Hotspur. You know what I'm saying? And I don't know what. It's almost like we've lost our identity or something.
Yeah, the problem with January is like you've got teams across Europe in here fighting relegation, not going to get rid of players. You've got teams challenging for honours, not going to get rid of players. Unless you've got a team that's got 3 players in a position that we want, it is hard to do the work done. But this work should have been done. That isn't an excuse. They're just facts. But this work should have been done. We should have been bringing in more than Kinksky in the first week of the window.
Yeah.
Where were the other deals that are all arranged, even if on the quiet, the way Johan Langland does it? And there's about 7 of them in that recruitment team, including Levy. So why isn't these deals there ready to be signed off?
You know why? And this is down to Levy. And anyone who watched me long enough knows I really blame Levy, because I feel like we all know about the Levy thing. But I heard something that was quite outrageous. I heard that Solanke's under 100 grand a week. We pay crap wages. 2025, and your top striker, your replacement for Kane, is under 100 grand a week. What are we doing? You can't. They say, if you pay peanuts, you get monkeys. It's the bloody truth, mate. We don't.
He came, though, didn't he? He came on that deal, mind you. He's leaving for a better club in theory.
He came on that deal because he's a humble guy, and he thinking more about career and his status than the money. I'd say I think the deal collapsed because we were offering him maybe 80 grand a week. The boys on more money. Zaha was on 120 grand a week at bloody Crystal Palace. Do you know what I'm saying? What we got? Son is on 200 grand a week. What are we offering these guys? If we really want the top players, we've got to be prepared to play 150 and above per week. That's why they're not coming. Look, I wouldn't come to Spurs for 60 grand a week. You must be mad. Not as a Premier League player going to a supposed top 6. Then I might as well bloody go to Napoli or something, or Sporting Lisbon.
So how many players do you think we'll get in? And I'll caveat that with this, because will we buy players, do loan deals or loans to buy? Because if we're going to get more than 2 in, they're obviously going to have to be loans, aren't they?
Yeah.
So, or loans to buy. And I like the loans to buy deals. I think they're good. Buy before you try. Try before you buy. I've got that the wrong way around. So, yeah.
But the players would be rubbish. Who are you going to get on loan? We're going to get another Werner.
Well,
no decent player is going to be.
I think as PSG want Skriniar out, I think I wouldn't be surprised if we get Skriniar, unless he goes to another Italian club on loan. So I wouldn't surprise me if we've got him. Others, a lot of these other players you're looking at the summer, you're not going to get a Tyreek Mitchell now, are you? You're not going to get. Look, I'll give you some of the ones we've been linked with. Right, I did 3 banners on this. Right, Ash will know a lot of these. Right, the only one here in England is Tyreek Mitchell, 20 fil left back. Then you got Dorgu. I like Dorgu, right? But the rest, these 5 below are all Italy, and they smell of Paratici to me, right? Dorgu, Fratesi, Douglas Luiz, Thomas Christiansen, the young Danish cap player now, and Tamari was at Chelsea. Their ages are there as well. Then you like
Tamari is good.
Yeah.
Look, well, these are all good. I'll take all of them.
These have always been. Look, Garnacho looks like he might be going to Italy. Gessens at Nice, the striker, and Buemo. You're not getting him at Brentford at this time of year. Ryan Cherky at Lyon looks good. Watched a video of him, but Henko would be interesting because he's centre back and captain of Feyenoord, and he can play at left back as well.
Yep.
Ansu Fati's made of glass.
Yeah.
Left wing striker at Barcelona. Buonanotte, a recent one come up, but he's on loan at Leicester from Brighton, isn't he, Buonanotte?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
But I just looked at him and thought, oh, this player's got something about him. But I haven't gone too in depth. And then you've got the old ones here. Cardoso, again, is in France. Skriniar's in France with PSG. Gomez is with Cardoso, isn't he, at Lille, isn't he? And then, no, with David. No, Gomez is with David at Lille. Jonathan David gets mixed up. So, and these are just, I didn't go around anymore. I thought, but a lot of these sort of smell summer. If there's big fees, they're going to be summer. We might spend 45 mil on a player and bring one in now. But then if we can bring in 2 or 3, the only way I'll see that is loans.
Yeah, you're right.
And clubs are doing a lot what PSG said with Muani. They're saying well, you can pay for him in 2026.
The only thing
you pay the new FFP rules or whatever rules they're going to bring in. Yeah, go on, Judgy.
The only thing I would say Adrian, about the loan system is you don't have choice. Like, some of these players are all right, but I don't know how well they would fit our system, or how well they would fit Postecoglou's system. So it's all well and good them being available, but actually, you know, I kind of agree with Postecoglou. If it's not going to work anyway, what is the point? You know, none of those players, apart from maybe what's his name, David Luiz, I can see fitting in our system.
Fratesi would fit.
Yeah.
A very energetic Bentancur type player, drives forward, aggressive, and we could do with some aggression.
Is he strong enough for the Prem though? Because is he the one at Juventus?
Yeah, and he plays for the Italian national side as well. Yeah, in my opinion, but it's only my opinion. I mean, like Ash might have done a lot of work on him. I don't know. You're muted, Ash, I think.
Yeah. Anyway, that was just my little.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think Fratesi can work. He's a good ball carrier. It's another similar profile, physical ball carrying type of player. We're not the profile, and this is why it goes back to Maddison. I'm like, his Maddison surplus to requirement, because the type of players we're looking at are the same profiles: ball carriers, physical.
He's at Milan, I think. Fratesi. I keep getting confused with Juventus. I think he's at Milan.
Inter Milan.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, another ball carrier, another ball carrier. So that's what we're always looking for: a physical player, ball carrier, a bit like Kulu, physical player, ball carrier. Madison's not a physical player. He's not really a ball carrier like that. He can carry the ball, but he's more of a person that drops the shoulder, looks for a pass from deep. Do you know what I'm trying to say? And my issue is, it would be interesting if you wanted to change tactics in game to change a game. Wouldn't you bring a different profile of player? Because remember, people complaining that we've got too many eights in our team, you know. And I know people will say Postecoglou doesn't play with a position, you know, doesn't play with a DM or an attacking mid. He plays with just midfielders. But yeah, for me, it's 2 minutes similar. Sarr likes to run on the ball. Bergvall wants to run on the ball.
Exactly.
Do you know what I mean? It's like, it's all ball carriers. Get on the ball, carry the ball. Get on the ball, carry the ball. Like, and I do understand the premise of it, because we're trying to be high intensity, win that ball back and drive up the pitch. But sometimes, like, not every day.
Sometimes you need a tamale.
Yeah, mix it up, you know what I mean? Today I don't feel like KFC. I don't feel like McD's today, you know what I'm saying? I might want a little Nando's with a peri sauce on top. You know what I'm saying? So that's my only critique of it. But don't get twisted. Fratesi would be a great loan signing, and my chest ain't too high for a player like that. No way. You know, for what we need right now, we need all we can get. I just don't believe the club have come out and they said they're looking for an attacker. Then they changed it and they were like, actually, no, we want a defender now. Which one is it? Like, I don't even think they've got any plan in place. This is the reason why I'm not really entertaining it anymore. Obviously, I do it on my channel, but obviously I'm a content creator. You get it? So I'm gonna try and make 9 things flagrant. So that's what it is. I like watching football.
I know you like watching them, because I've seen you smile when you lob the banter grenades amongst your guests. You're lobbing them banter grenades in, like, and you're just waiting for the reaction to come. So listen.
I just want a bit of entertainment at times, you know. But if I'm being realistic at times, I know like half the players that I'm looking at is or actually, you know, a lot of it is hoping with my channel, because I'm thinking maybe one scout's looking at it and they think, yeah, actually that's a good player. Yeah. But really, it's another club that's looking at it, and then they're like, yeah, let's put him into our team. But anyway, I digress. I just feel like, if I'm being totally honest, I just feel they don't know what they want at the moment, because they don't know if they want Postecoglou at the moment. I'll be real. Do you know what I mean? They say they're behind him, but they haven't put their money where their mouth is. And typically, I don't know how much money's, because you know what it is? I'll be real. Like, going on to Deji's point, he said, you know, the wage thing. The reason why the wages were so low is because Levy put a motion. I don't know if you lot saw it. He put a motion in the hotel. He put the hotel in motion, and he spent over 350 million on that hotel at the back of the South Stand. Do you know what I'm saying? And then further to that, he wanted to build apartments behind that. I know it's not this type of show, but I'm just saying, innit? Like, that's the reason why he wanted extra guap, extra money to come in, so he could use that money to invest in things from outside. So he's like, I need to lower the wage bracket for these players that I'm bringing in. Get rid of this player, get rid of that player. He's on a high wage, get rid of him, get rid of him. Yes, every fan was like, yes, we're getting rid of the Deadwood. Yes, it's gonna be a great window. Yay! Do you know what I'm saying? But what he did was he reduced the wage bill and he made it look more attractive for outside investors to invest it. So he didn't have to put his own money, his own equity into the club, and they could use that to build on other things that they wanted to build on. That's why it's coming down, and that's why we're getting linked with Amanda Stavely and other. We had sheiks. Remember, there was at one point different sheiks were coming in, shaking hands with Levy, and we're like, "Oh, is someone coming to buy the club?" He's trying to get money to invest in it. Even the other day, I think they invested. Enoch bought 0.11% shares. That's to do with the hotel. It was nothing to do with about the football. Do you see what I'm trying to say? So that's the reason why I'm not too sure about this whole. Even when it came to Eze in the summer, I was like, I want Eze, I want Eze, I want Eze, and I made sure I said it as many channels as I could to let people know when Eze didn't come. We know we know what's going on with this situation. Why we're not getting the players we're meant to be getting. Why we're not getting certain things aren't happening. And this is the reason why, and it's relevant to what's happening now. This is why we're not really moving fast. And typically this is how we move as well. The whole window will pass and we'll be linked with a player. And on the last day, that's when that player will be unveiled. And guess what? We've lost how many games in between? Yeah. How many? We needed that. We needed players for Tamworth. We needed players for Arsenal. We needed players for Everton. Dare I say it? Leicester, incoming, Hoffenheim. Oh dear. Do you know what I'm trying to say? And I want to be optimistic. And it's good to be positive in life. Do you know what I'm trying to say? But at the same time, I live my life where sometimes I expect the worst, but I pray for the best.
Mm-hmm. Right. You know, this nice question. I'll start with you, Deji, on this question. Is being in 3 cups keeping the players motivated? The reason why Ange hasn't lost the dressing room?
I don't think it's keeping the players motivated. I think he's lost the dressing room. But what it is keeping Ange in the job. Because let's be real, had he gone out, had we lost the first leg to Liverpool, he would have been gone. And I said this: the 3 cups. Adrian, you would have heard me say that Spurs are going to win the treble. What I really meant by that is Spurs need to win the treble in order for Postecoglou to keep his job. I don't even think finishing 17th or 16th with a Carabao is good enough. So for me, the players aren't motivated, but on the one hand, you can argue that they still have something to play for because our league, because the Premier League it was over. It was over before Christmas, so there's nothing to look forward to. I'm just afraid, like what Ash is saying, that I think people are sleeping on. Let's not be so arrogant and so self-entitled to think that we won't go down. Leave this fella in long enough. I predicted after the Brighton game, Ashes can confirm this, that at the rate that we're going, we could lose 18 games this season.
He did say that.
Yeah?
He did say that.
And we've lost 12. So I'm not so much of a madman, am I?
No.
So I'm going to make another statement. I can see us winning a trophy under Postecoglou. But I could also see us going down with the boat. So I just want to say to all the Spurs fans,
you sound like you found a tenner and lost 20 quid.
Yeah, basically. basically. So the question I throw back to you both.
Well, I want Ash to answer it next because he disagrees with you.
Yeah, right. Go on, Ash. Let me not spoil it with my question.
I don't think we'll win a trophy. I'll be honest with you.
Fair enough.
I can't see it past Liverpool. I'll be totally we've only won there. This is football, isn't it? At the end of the day, football, anything's possible. But I'm looking at, if I was a betting man and I saw that Spurs have only won at Anfield in the last 100 years 8 times.
Yeah.
I would be a
We
better
only
man.
need a draw. We only need a draw.
It'd be a bit of a gamble. And like, even if we get a draw, right? That means we go to penalties. I don't fancy our opportunities against Kelleher or Allison, whoever's in goal. I don't trust the boys to get it done. Tottenham in the penalty shootout, it's like England in the penalty shootout. I just feel nervous. I just don't.
Why does it go to a penalty shootout? We won the first leg.
It's not away goals.
No, but if it's 1-1, we've won 2-1. For 90 minutes, we've won 2-1 over the 2 legs.
Oh, we have to score, of course. Yeah, we have to score. We have to score at Anfield.
No, we don't have to score at Anfield. If it's 0-0, we go through.
We just need a draw at Anfield.
We just need a draw.
I don't know why people keep thinking
all right, then let's play that.
A draw.
We're saying Liverpool, what are they in the scoring charts? One of the most deadliest forward lines. That's their strength. Like, obviously, they've got a good goalkeeper, they've got a good centre half, good fullback, blah blah blah.
Good midfielders, good everything.
Right? It feels good, decent. But where are they? Their strengths are in that front line, on the pitch, off the pitch. Also, you look at our back line. How many goals have we conceded? Are we like what 17th in terms of goals conceded? Are we what 17th in terms of clean sheets? Like, are we expected to go on Anfield and do a defensive masterclass against them, and for them to not score? If I'm a better man, call me crazy. I don't know. Like, is it? Am I being too optimistic? Is that too much hope in me to say like Spurs will beat them? Like, or do I look at it and say, actually, you know what? I have to be real with myself and think Liverpool are favourites, and the probability of them winning in the League Cup is a little bit higher than us. Yes, we are the underdogs. With the run of form, can I see Spurs causing an upset? No. Do you know what? If we were losing, for example, if we lost against Everton and we were still, playing with a zest, pinging the ball around, triangles, on the transition, looking deadly, hitting the post, testing the keeper, it's just gone over, working them. Spurs were so unlucky. Or like they're scoring goals where it's deflections and like against the runner play, something like that. I saw Everton on the weekend boss us. I was like, and I was talking to, guess who I was talking to? Of course, box office, yeah. I'm talking to box office, and I'm saying to box office, bro, we are not that bad. We will beat Everton. Like,
I knew we were gonna lose that.
Bro. When I'm telling him, I'm saying, bro, like, and he's telling me, no, Ash, we're gonna draw. We're not gonna. I don't think we'll win. We'll get a draw. And I'm arguing with him. No, bro, we're not. It's Everton. You know how bad Everton are. Now I'm talking about Merseyside red. I ain't talking about Merseyside blue. Yeah, I'm saying. I'm not talking about Crookside. I'm talking about Brookside, the real Brookside. Liverpool, top of the league, not just in Prem, in champs. Like, I don't know. I can't see it. Europe now, if I want to go into Europa, because that's another trophy, there's two. I saw what happened with Galatasaray.
Well, I mean, you could, if we, obviously, we expect to beat Hoffenheim, right, Thursday. Right. And then you've got Leicester Sunday.
No, we don't.
All right. So we beat Hoffenheim, we beat Leicester Sunday, and we beat Elfsborg the following Thursday. We would be in good heart going to Anfield. People would be putting their houses on it.
I'll be honest, Adrian, and I'm not here to put a downer. I think we've gone beyond heart. What we are experiencing at our club is a game that was made in the early, 1600s. It's called gambling. When we go out on the pitch, we are literally gambling on red or black. Sometimes you get black, more times you get red. There is, I think if we're lucky, we draw with this squad against Hoffenheim. Have you seen them play? We're not good enough to beat Hoffenheim if we can't beat Everton. I'm not sure how we're going to fare against Leicester on the weekend. We keep saying Leicester's rubbish. Mate, they're not that, they look better than us. Yeah, they just happen to be lower than us. And then we've got to beat Elfsborg. Elfsborg is probably the only one I think we do win. But even if we won all three, that squad should it was the same squad that got whacked 6-3 by Liverpool. So
But VDV and Romero should be back for the away trip to Anfield.
I almost think the VDV and the Romero thing. I actually said on the weekend for the Liverpool game, I don't know if I bring them back in.
We don't know the stage of fitness. We had all that planning against Chelsea.
What I'm saying is, if they're fit, I'm not sure I bring them back in straight away. So, someone will look at me. Ashley's looking at me like I'm a madman.
No, I'm not.
Romero, when he was fit, was a liability anyway. Okay. and also what that means, when we got the win against Liverpool at home, part of the reason why we got the win was because we were unable to press. Postecoglou said, I wanted them to press. They couldn't do it. But actually, in not pressing, we got the win. Van de Ven and Romero being in the squad means that we go back to high line for life. What the Van heck? Inside of the opposition half. Do I really want that up against Salah, Jota, and Diaz? No.
Well, I think there's... I see this high line argument a bit different to others who have disagreed with me, which is fair enough. This season, when I've been at the stadium, I've always seen this with 4 on the halfway line or 3. None of this 2. I think we might have had 2 against Liverpool at one time in a game. And how many goals have we actually conceded? Balls hit over the top. Few. Most of our goals we've conceded are through shocking defending that have been in our penalty area when we've had 6, 7, 8 bodies or more, right? That should have dealt with a lot of the goals we conceded. And weirdly, we've conceded about 15 or 16 of our goals in the left-hand side of our goal mouth. I don't know if there's anything in this. It's something like Ash might go and have a look at. He loves his stats, and that's the Romero Porro side. Now I don't know if that's just football or if there's anything in it, but we've conceded a lot of goals on that side, right? West Ham didn't they? There was the overhead kick from Ipswich or something like that. There were a lot of them on that side. This high line. I mean, I've always argued that Udogie, when he's playing, see, Porro's technically a very good footballer on a volley and all that. So he cuts in and plays a 10, comes in like a 10 and inverts. I don't see even last season Udogie doing it that much. He may do it, but rarely. He tends to. This is the difference which affects us on the right as well, because when Porro was playing with Kulu all last season, they would get the overloads on the right. Udogie gets overloads on the left, is either with Maddison or with Son, right? When Porro cuts in like that, I think that's sometimes the reason why Johnson, who I've warmed to this season, I didn't want him at the club, but I've warmed to him, seen better things about him. It's not getting even overloads. If you can't take a man on, what do other teams do? They get overloads, so you don't risk losing the ball. It's percentages, isn't it? Playing. So, and Johnson's out there, but he should still try and hook a crossing because he had opportunities and he doesn't do it. Yeah, but yeah, this high line. I think what is the difference between Liverpool's high line, and I mean, apart from that, they've got better players than us and Arsenal and all that. Apart from the fact that we've probably got one fullback that inverts.
I went to the Spurs Liverpool game. It was my son's first game at the stadium.
Oh,
and what a memory he will have. He scored 9 goals that day.
Yeah.
I just think the way Liverpool ripped us open. Well, you don't think that could happen under Romero and Van de Ven?
Yet we still knocked them out. We still beat them in the first leg.
I know, but the 6-3.
Yeah. And they're the only team that's beaten us by more than 1 goal. All the games we've lost this season are by 1 goal. So with Spurs, you always get the weirdest statistics, don't you? And we invent a few each season as well, don't we?
I just want to be fair, in terms of statistics. If they're talking about open play, conceding open play shots, the stats will give you something completely different. If you're talking about, I know people don't like it, expected goals, meaning how close you are to the goal, like the opportunity, not shots from outside the box, meaning 1v1s or like chances where like you expect the striker to score, they're in a high probability where they will put the ball in the back of the net, meaning like maybe a defender's in front of them, or a defender, you know, the angle's easy for them to put in the net or get a shot on target. Spurs, yeah, it's not looking good. That's all I'm gonna say. I don't want to say the actual stat, but that's the difference. For example, when we lost against Bournemouth and we lost by a goal, we could have got peppered by Bournemouth. Bournemouth missed some sitters, some real. Even Everton recently just gone by.
Yeah.
That 3-0 wasn't a true 3-2. Sorry, was not a true reflection of what happened in that game. Do you know what I'm saying? I'll be totally honest. So the argument where people say that, you know, if you look at our goals conceded away, we're not being honest. We're not really baking into context of what's actually been happening game by game. Also, going back to that Romero point, there's times when Romero, he should know better. Like, he should know when to step up, step forward, and he should know when to drop off. And there's times when he just had brain farts, or people say the bozo genes come inside him, and he's literally just not reacting to what's going on around with him. I remember against Newcastle, it was him and Dragusin in the back two. Yeah. And
well, you had Dragusin played everyone on side because Udogie should have been tighter to Murphy for that goal on the wing, right? And Dragusin was new into the team. He didn't know where to stick or twist. He didn't know where to play on, because they're not played that time together. Porro, the other three were in line. If Dragusin had stepped up, the probably chances that would have been offside. The first goal from the throw-in, they're like rabbits in headlights, you know? They just all stood still.
Well, I think my point actually is Romero has to be communicating with his backline.
Yes.
And that's the issue, actually.
Yeah.
And you've seen that with Porro on the right-hand side. When Porro sometimes drops, especially that Brighton game where Romero's pulled across, Porro's pulled across, and it's like, bro, not both of you need to go to that right-hand side to deal with Matoma, because now you're leaving Jorginho free. Do you know what I'm saying? So there needs to be more organization in those chaotic moments. He needs to be a bit more of a calming influence.
Yeah, he's the oldest. He's a senior player. He's the World Cup winner, the Copa de America twice winner. He should be taking responsibility.
He should be taking the game by the scruff of the neck. He loves defending, but at the same time, he needs to be. And I don't know what language he's speaking. I don't know if that's
the thing.
If he's talking to them in Spanish or English, or you know what I mean. Well, Porro Spanish anyway, so there shouldn't be a communication issue on that side. But there is, and like you said, whether Romero's fit or not, there's been an issue down that right-hand side for Spurs, and him coming back. You can see a Gakpo peeling off wide, Porro going wide to him, but then also got someone like Nunes that can drop in the hole. What does Romero do? Does Romero follow?
I think what we missed,
or does he stand off him? Like, do you know what I'm trying to say? It's those little nuances that I'm not really seeing the players read in real time, because actually I'm looking at Ange. This is where sometimes he has his hands in his pocket because he himself doesn't know what to do. Remember, he's not really a coach like that, so he's not really having that expertise where he can quickly say, no, swap over. You don't jump here. You stay here. You sit off him. Do you know what I'm saying? And that's the difference between we're winning games and losing games. We're not able to see, like we said, we got back in a game because we're happy to talk about the 1-0 win and the League Cup. But then, like Deji said, in the Premier League game when we got whooped, we got handed to us, bro. 5-1. I said to my boy, he was in the stadium.
But I'm a big Romero fan. I think he's our best defender. Others will disagree with me. That's fair enough. He progresses the ball. He gets it forward for us.
I will disagree.
Our other centre backs can't
disagree with that. In terms of on the ball, he's miles ahead of Dragusin, and actually he actually helps our build-up play where we've been struggling in the build-up. Dragusin has been our biggest problem in terms of playing out from the back, and teams know that. And Liverpool even said it. We're going to target Dragusin because if you just know
I mean, apart from a couple of times that VDV's made his surging runs, which have led to goals, which have been great to watch, you know. Anyway, let's move on to a bit of this, right? This is our injury woes, guys. Nothing to worry, only 11. Vicario, Forster, Odegaard, VDV, Romero, Udogie, Werner, Solanke, Johnson, Basuma. Bentancur, I think his protocol's up, a concussion protocol, and it wouldn't surprise me if he's on the bench or starts. Right, so then we got the ineligible players to add to this, right? Don't laugh. You got Spence, Regulon, Kinksky, and Min Hyuk. They're ineligible, so you can't pick them. They're not even in the Euro squad. Predicted lineup. Bring your boots, Ash. You might get a game, right? So I think we've only got one choice at goalkeeper now. Forster's out, guys.
Why is Forster out? Why is he out?
He's injured.
He's injured, man.
He's injured.
Is he injured or has he had a meltdown?
That's the thing I've been asking as well. For a lot of players.
And in like at fullback, I think we've only got Porro and Gray. And Gray's got to play at fullback because the others are all ineligible, and we haven't got none. And that's why in the middle, it's going to have to be Dragerson and Davis, I think.
Yeah.
Now, where it gets tricky, this is where. Who are you picking in midfield, Deji? Out of these, I don't think we've got any more. If I've missed anyone out that can fit in here,
God.
I mean, you could put Kulu in here as well, but I've saved him because our strike it. Well,
Bergvall has to start. Bergvall has to start for me. I think he goes Bergvall, Basuma, Sarr, which is how he started against Arsenal. The only thing was that I thought it was weird to start with that midfield against Arsenal simply because it's a big game and they've never played together in that three. That was the first time we saw that three. But I think against Hoffenheim, you would think that three should have enough to do it. Bentancur shouldn't start because he's on his way back, and Madders doesn't start for me anyway. I think Bergvall has shown himself to be more reliable at the moment than Madders. So it's Sarr or Bergvall.
You take Maddison to score against his old club Leicester on Sunday. Then you think
Yeah.
I don't know if Ange would hold players back. I think it's just he knows this game's they're all important. So Ash, who are you going in for in midfield here?
Isn't Bentancur back by then? No?
Yeah,
I think it's back. I think his protocol's up. I think it's up.
I think Bentancur starts.
Okay.
Alongside a Bergvall. And I think Sarr gets a run out again because Basuma's done his hammy.
But Bentancur ain't been great this season.
Yeah.
No, he hasn't. But people forget.
Basuma's injured. Sorry, I don't know. I put him on the injured list as well, but I've wrong.
Cool. But so I personally think Bentancur. The team picks itself because of injuries, isn't it?
Yeah.
Bentancur, and remember, Kulusevski's running to the ground. If they play him again, I don't know how long he's got left. He's running on fumes. But I would think the midfield would be Bentancur, Bergvall, and then Sarr. So Bergvall probably be.
Well, they're not. Apparently, a lot of the players are just being rested out of games now because they're being forced. And this is what happens, isn't it? It's not just a question of like you get tired, then your speed of thought, which is when your freshness is gone. You'll make mistakes with your past, and you'll make wrong decisions because like you've got brain fog because you're too tired. And I think a lot of fans don't take that into consideration. So and then it compounds it with your risk of getting these players injured again. So I mean, it does affect players' speed of thought. So I'll start with you on the.
Say it again. Oh, strikers. Okay, is that what you said? You cut out. All right. So up top, Richarlison. I think Richarlison might.
Yeah, Richarlison.
Apparently, he wasn't fit enough to have the full game at Everton, but he looked all right to me running around. But
Richarlison, Son.
I think they might risk it, man. Moore will definitely have some type of input, but Richarlison will start. Maybe Son on the left, and Kulu might have to be forced to play on the right again. I don't think they might have to force Kulu again. But it's not a good look, man.
You could play Richarlison on the left, Son in the middle, and Moore on the right. You've got options here. Which way? I mean, I don't know nothing about Hoffenheim, so.
Basically, they're near the wrong end of the table, aren't they?
Yeah, they're right down the bottom with Elfsberg. Yeah,
and it should be like. I say that. I said that about Everton. I said that about what?
I remember Dynamo Zagreb. You know, their manager was in prison and they still beat us. Right?
I don't know, man. I ain't got much to say. I'll be honest with you. Everyone's saying Lancashire, but I know Lancashire. I didn't see the Galatasaray game, but from what I heard, a lot of people say yes, he scored the goal, but he didn't really play. He wasn't pulling up streets, if that makes sense. He wasn't that great.
I think he nearly had a chance with crosses, one of them fiery crosses into the box and things like that. And then I wondered, right, oh shit, you're 19. Have you now lost your manager's trust because you got sent off? He got sent off in that game, didn't he?
Yeah, I think he was unfortunate to get sent off. I didn't really mind it. He put in a shift. Yeah, he was just a present. He was just there. Nothing, there's nothing. He wasn't going to blow you away, but he got his goal, and that's all you can ask for on your debut. Maybe he needs more time. But again, I think where I'm just finding it very odd. I'm an advocate for bringing in the academy players, but I'm an advocate for bringing them in gradually and
drip
rightly.
feeding them.
Drip feeding them. This kind of 7 of the 11 are academy players is just pissing me off. I can't lie to you. Just doesn't. I don't know what you think they're gonna do when you're playing. You know what I mean? That squad we put out against Galatasaray was a disgrace. We were never gonna win there. Do you know what I'm saying? So, we could have on Thursday Bergvall, Mikey Moore, Archie Gray, Dorrington, Lancashire all start, and then we're gonna beat Hoffenheim. There's no way. There isn't enough experience to do that. They're not that good. Not yet, anyway.
Right. This is a nice one for you. Do you think Ainge will be sacked, guys? He's on 5 million a year, not big money like the other manager we've had, but so it'd be 10 mil plus to get rid of him.
It's tight, man. I think, as I said before, I think they give him to Liverpool game. And I know what you guys said, and I agree. If he does get through, it does hide the league form. But I think they'll use that as an excuse because I think like the cups are saving him. He's in the cup competition, and they don't want that type of brand to say, "Oh, we always get rid of a manager, regardless if they're in a cup semi-final or final." Like, yeah, they don't want that. If he gets crashing out, because a lot of fans, like including yourself, right, Adrian, you think Spurs can beat Liverpool, right? So
I think we can get a draw there.
I mean, not beat them, but get a draw, get a result. So,
get a result. Yeah, I think we can get a
result. So if
you just don't know what to expect,
well, this is it. So that's my point. So if now, like many Spurs fans like yourself have all of their hope resting in the League Cup, and we come out of that, then that'll be enough of an excuse for them to say, like, yeah, you know what, he didn't proceed in this cup, let's get rid of him. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying. I'm giving him to Liverpool, to Feb.
I mean, I don't want. Yeah, I'm happy for Postecoglou to say if he does the treble, because you could almost argue that he forfeited the league to satisfy our trophy drought. So now that we've got it, next season, now we go for broke and we go for a top 3 finish. Now, if that's the way he wants to work it, then he's a bloody genius. However, his favorite movie is Casino Royale, because if it doesn't work, he's going to fall flat on his face. So that means he has to somehow get a result against Liverpool. And I actually think if we play Newcastle in the final, I think we beat Newcastle in the final. I think we've been the better team in both games we've played. A lot of Newcastle fans think they're going to run through us. I don't think so. He needs to win the Europa. But what I will say to you is this. I think finishing 16th or 15th with a Carabao Cup, he deserves to be on the chopping board.
We've had, there's been so many variables to the season. I find it very hard to judge Ainge after last season as well, after all that. And this season's been worse regarding injuries. First of all, we start off, we don't do enough in the summer transfer window. Then we get injuries. And then we get players we have to overplay. They're knackered, their form drops, and probably picked up a couple of injuries doing that as well. And it's all compounded to us like
we don't have to overplay them. That's the thing.
Well, you've got to have the players to play.
Yeah, but he didn't have to
enough fit players to rotate.
Yeah, but he didn't have to overplay Udogie and Porro early in the season. Jed Spencer.
I'd have to go. I mean, well, I'm not going to argue.
Reguilon has always been there. He hasn't needed to overplay. The overplaying.
And look, we've all critiqued his game management at times. At times he's got it right, at times he's got it wrong. And he's come under more critique actually for the timing of his substitutions in certain games. But at times he's got them right and he's got it wrong. So, but don't all managers do that? You know, don't they all? No one has a perfect season. Don't they all do that?
No one does, but
it depends on your standards and your expectation of what you see Spurs being. Because, like, just real quick, if I'm looking at Ange Postecoglou, I'm saying a bad season for him is 8th. Do you know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, I agree.
And to be in 15th and not manage the squad, because as a manager, if you're not going to coach them, you have to manage. Like, what does that mean? It means managing not your first 11. It means managing the squad. That's what I was going to say. Go on, Deji. Sorry for interrupting, man. Go on, carry on.
That's all right. No,
I actually forgot what I was going to say.
Sorry, man. But yeah, so like,
what compounds it normally? Then you'll get people complain. They'll conflate other teams with us, like, oh, well, Brentford have had injuries and Bournemouth, but look where they are in the league. Yeah, but they never tell you, like, that I think it's Bournemouth have played 9 games less than us, and that, like, they've had rest periods because they've got no, you know, they're not in Europe and things like that.
I hear that, but I'm just talking about as just Spurs. It depends on your standards of Spurs. Like, if you think Spurs should be where they are because they're playing 2 games a week and we can't handle.
No, we didn't do enough work. The squad is not good enough.
So I'm saying, like, if you're a manager and you said it's on me, yeah, and you said all these signings, everyone that comes through the door is under my tenure, so under my say-so. No one comes through the door without my say-so. Then you have to take the responsibility also when the team are not performing. I think that's the only argument logically to have.
Before Ash leaves, and I know we're wrapping up now as well, and big up. Sorry, because I have to get ready.
Just put your links in here, guys. For those
I want to drop this bombshell, and Ash, I know you got to go because you got Spurs King, but this is the bombshell I want to drop. I actually think that everything Postecoglou's done has just been gambling. I think Ange Ball is gambling ball. Let me hear you out. Part of the reason why, Adrian, the way you speak the way that you speak, because you think of the Liverpool game, you think of the City game, you think of the Villa game, you think of the Southampton game and say, whoa, he was able to get a tune out of these boys. He must be a genius. But like I said to you before, if you go into a casino and you do red or black, sometimes you will get the win and you double your money. But more time, you will lose. I actually think now that the result against Man City just happened to be that we caught them on a good day. Liverpool were expecting us to do the same thing. We caught them on an off day. Villa, Southampton. I think go again, we get absolutely slapped by all 4 of those teams. That's why I've changed on Ange. I'm not sure Ange Ball is effective. I just think you might get a 1 or 2 good wins here and there. But in the main, we are right. The league table doesn't lie. We are the 15th worst team in the league. That's the truth.
He is one unlucky manager, though. One unlucky manager.
And I also think you make your own luck. If you're
Well, I've always believed the harder you work, the luckier you get, right? Yeah. But when you take last season, Kane goes, arguably the best striker. The first 10 games went out and draw 2. VDV gets his hamstring, he gets done. Madison gets done, his ankle gets done, doesn't he? Who else got injured? It was Bentancur.
And despite
and then after that, what happened? Basuma had 3 suspensions that season. Romero had 1. Players went away on international duty, and he came for all that, and we finished 5th. So exactly. I thought you've got something about you. You're no mug. He's been in football. Look, we all talk football. We're all pretty knowledgeable. I'm not saying we're experts. I'm not an expert or nothing like that. But I mean, like, we all know systems and tactics to a certain degree, to as much as we want to know, without making our brains explode, right? And I just think he did well last season on it, and this season it's worse. Like, you've seen the list of injuries. It's worse. And all right, I'm not excusing him, because when you've got a fit squad, when you start the season, mostly it's you still win and lose games with a fit squad of players. That's football. That's the nature of the beast, right? But then we get the injuries can pile up. Then players are overplayed. Then they're tired. And you gradually see this downward spiral. It needs to stop now, doesn't it? It needs to stop Thursday, Sunday, and the following Thursday before we go to Anfield. But we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see.
Right, guys, it's been a fantastic show. I want to thank Ash coming on, making his debut. I hope we get him again. If not, we'll kidnap him and we get him back. And everyone, get over to Spurs Kings. They're a fantastic group. I mean, I've been following them since they started. They're really good content in there and all that, right? And here's Deji's link here. Deji, thanks for coming on. He's promised to come on more regularly on Tuesdays, so perhaps we'll get the pair of you back on Tuesdays now. I know you're free on Tuesdays, right? Yeah, so Deji's link is here. Get over there. Good content. He does things slightly differently the way I do, but everyone does that. so right, yeah. So thanks for coming on, Deji. And I want to thank everyone. I mean, we've still got 35 viewers now at the moment, which is excellent for this time. It's excellent for a Tuesday. Thank you for all your comments. Thank you for viewing us. Thank you in the chat for all your comments in the chat as well. And I will play you out with